Hey, everybody.
Hey,
Bad Pennies are back
you
again. How you doing? How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm
Doing all right.
I'm excited to talk about this next subject.
Principles. So
Principles.
I'm Sho, and this is my friend Alan, and we're going to talk to you today about principles.
Principles. Yes. Not not that man or woman that sits in the office at
Yeah.
school. That's a different principle.
These are more like self laws.
Yes, they are. Actually, that's really good. And they are. They're self laws. So here's the here's where we're going to start out. Principles are rules you set for yourself.
Okay. Yeah.
Rules you set for yourself.
Okay.
And why are they important? Well, we've talked about some of the subjects that are going to come up within the idea of having principles, but there are arguably three main things that guide our life.
Three main things that guide our
Three main
lives.
things that keep you on track.
Okay, and those three things
Are most importantly is having a purpose in life.
having a purpose.
Okay, and that a purpose will do a number of things for you, including give you meaning,
Mhm.
but it will also give you direction.
Yeah,
Purpose is what.
it's one of those like, why am I here kind of a things.
Yeah. Well, what am I doing actually?
What am I
Why
doing?
am I here would be your context, but what am I doing is your purpose,
Yeah.
and if your purpose is high enough, and my own definition of higher purpose is anything that you do that isn't about you.
Okay.
All right.
So
It
purpose-
has to do with service and all of being
Yeah.
of service to mankind, but a good purpose will make your life meaningful, and that's one of the important aspects of it.
Okay.
Okay, that's number one. Number two, principles.
Principles.
Principles they work with a purpose, but they are a foundation
Okay.
for being. They are the laws, as you said earlier. They're like fundamental laws for yourself, right? They principles can work on larger scales too, and be a fundamental law for an organization, for a culture, for a country. So like the Constitution is like fundamental principles that we've built our nation on, right?
Okay.
Okay. So there's that, and again, as a foundation, your principles will tell you how to be, what lines you can't cross. I think, did we do a podcast on crossing
We
the
did a
line?
line crossing podcast, and it got
Yeah.
a pretty good response.
So your principles will help you define that line that you either must cross or you cannot cross.
Yes.
Right. So that's how they work. And then the other thing is disciplines. But disciplines are also related to a bunch of other things that I package all into that same little area of discipline, which is like standards.
Mhm.
And again, standards are kind of like rules,
Okay.
but they are practiced, and all of this together forms your character.
Okay.
The quality of your character.
Yeah.
Which includes your rules, your standards, your principles,
Okay.
your purpose, how you conduct yourself in life, who you are,
Okay.
and again, knowing where that line is that you won't cross. So, here are some definitions again with principle, a fundamental truth. Fundamental truth or proposition that serves as the foundation for a system of belief or behavior, or for a chain of reasoning. Okay? And men used to have principles that they stood up for.
You don't think we do now?
Nope, I don't. I think we've lost the whole concept of principles, honestly. And if you disagree with that statement, tell us, write a comment, because I want to hear it. But my experience of how we are being as a country these days is that principles have gone out the window.
Okay.
Right? Ideology has taken its place, and there's a difference between ideology and principles.
Do tell.
Well, ideology is like it isn't founded in truth, and principles are founded in truth.
Okay.
Okay, fundamental truth is a principle. It's a fundamental truth. And ideologies have nothing to do with truth at all. Ideologies are just how you want things to be or expect things to be. All right,
Okay.
and can be manipulated. And in order to actually have an ideology, you have to let go of your principles.
Ooh.
You have to let go of fundamental truths. So, and that has now posed a problem for our country on many levels. And it's not about any particular group of people either. It's all the way across the board. These ideologies are popping up. Also, a principle, as opposed to values, which can vary from person to person, principles remain constant in the universe because they are fundamental truths.
Okay.
So they remain constant.
But it's personal. Everyone's principles are going to be different. So how is it universal if they're if each person is
that's not true. Principles are principles, right? What's different is which ones you take on. Values may vary. Principles, when you take on a principle, like I will always tell the truth, or I will not harm others, or I will, this is what I'm about and who I am, and I will never compromise that. Okay, and that's a fundamental truth. Whereas ideology will actually cause you to violate those fundamental truths in order to serve the ideology or protect something. See, that's another reason why we compromise a principle, is that we think we might lose something by doing it. And the truth is, you might. In fact, it's almost a given. You will pay a price by standing up for your principles. And sometimes the price is glory and honor, and sometimes the price is you may get thrown away. Like, say you were a politician and you had you presented yourself as a man of principles, right, that stood up for truth, but a situation comes up that if you told the truth, you might not get elected again. So you lie and you violate a principle. Because the principle is the truth, and it's universal and fundamental. And so you lie in order to protect yourself from not getting reelected. Now, that was a super simplification, but it actually does apply to many, many areas where we will violate a principle in order to protect ourselves from losing something that we find unacceptable to lose. Right? So it's called compromise. Right? And when we compromise our principles, what we've lost is the quality of our character. We've lost our moral compass. And that is one of the great consequences and prices to be paid for not maintaining your principles. All right? So check this out. Definition number 3. Though values govern our behaviors, principles govern the consequences of those behaviors.
The values
govern our behaviors.
Our
principles govern the consequences of those behaviors. All right. So when we lie, the foundation, the principle, will determine the price. And one of the prices that you pay is the diminishing of your character as a man, the diminishing of your moral character, losing your moral compass, getting lost, and not knowing where you stand anymore. So that's what happens.
You lose yourself.
You do. You totally lose yourself. Look at all the politicians, regardless of political party, that lost themselves and have lost themselves completely. You don't know what they stand for at all, because anything that comes out of their mouth is all based in protecting themselves from a perceived a threat of not getting reelected or losing their power or their money or their speaking engagements or whatever it is they're trying to protect. And so again, they've even compromised their values too, because the values the good values, because what they're doing is they're following the values of protecting themselves, the values of power, or the values of money, right? So, or looking good. We'll do that. I mean, even at a simple level, we've all like compromised our principles in order to look good. I don't want to look bad.
Yeah.
You know, even with a woman, haven't you ever like, you know, God, why did I do that? Or why did I say that? And it was so that she would approve of you. Because you thought that was more valuable than living with your principles.
Okay.
Your foundation.
Okay.
So here are some principles to bat around. Okay, we're not going to make this a real long podcast, so we're going to give you some principles to really think about, and how they apply to your life, and continue to come up with more, and see how you are being principled in following them or not, right? And or how what are the things that you value or think that you value that cause you to compromise your principles. Ownership is a principle. Responsibility. We did a whole podcast on that kind of thing. Taking when it comes to dealing with failure and taking responsibility. Accountability is another principle. Being accountable. Again, these are all foundational elements, laws, right? That you stand on.
Yeah.
You stand on that cannot be compromised. I mean, of course you can compromise them, but I mean, if you own them, if these really are something you stand by, then you can't. You can't. Honor. Honor is a principle. Are you being honorable? When you lie, you're not being honorable. When you compromise, you're not being honorable. Okay. Loyalty. Sometimes it's personal loyalty. I tend to not focus much on personal loyalty as much as I do, and it doesn't mean I don't have personal loyalty, but I tend to focus more on the loyalty that I have with others toward certain principles and certain purposes. Making the world a better place.
Shared loyalty?
Yeah, shared loyalty toward a cause.
Okay.
Something you're worthy of fighting for, something honorable and worthy of your life. Truth. The truth is the principle. The truth is a principle, not a manufactured truth, not the manipulated truth, not the story about the truth, but the actual truth itself. The truth is only what is. Did we haven't done? I don't know whether we've done one on truth, have we? I'm not even sure.
Nah, I think we did trust.
We did trust, right? So maybe we'll have this year we'll do something on truth. But truth again is just what is, without story. Because anytime you add story to truth, it's not the truth anymore. It's your story about it. I don't know whether you've ever experienced that out there personally, but we don't like to tell the truth because the truth is difficult to take sometimes, and it's very simple and it's very bare, and it doesn't come with any kind of justification whatsoever, right?
Yeah.
So, and we like to justify stuff, and so rather than telling the truth, which is just what is, we talk about it in terms of how we're justifying what happened.
Yeah.
And that's not the truth. That's just your justification. And anytime that there is a truth about something, there can be 100 different justifications that are all opposed to each other and have nothing to do with the truth at all.
Okay.
All right. So I would avoid justifications, especially in your head, because we do that. That's where we do most of it is about ourselves.
Is okay.
Well,
okay.
I'm really a good guy.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't mean to shoot all those people in the bank robbery I just pulled off because I'm really a good guy.
Okay, here you go. You got your example.
I didn't mean to kill them. I just meant to wound them.
Right.
Because I'm a good guy.
Good guy.
I mean, banks are evil, so I'm only helping, no, I'm not going to give the money away, but...
Okay. All right.
I mean,
all right.
We digress big time on that one.
Yeah,
but but you get the point, right? That we will tell a story about something that's not true.
Right.
Because the bank robber is not a good guy.
Right. Okay.
Right. I've seen that You know, I've I've seen it done, justifying slave ownership, but they were good slave owners. There's no such thing as a good slave owner.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but
Right.
it doesn't happen. But it's the story.
It's
the
their
story and the justification.
Justification.
Okay. So, all right. Anything else you want to say about
Principles?
principles?
I think it needs to be a core foundation of any man to have principles and to abide by them.
Yes.
I think that if you don't have principles, you won't be any kind of honorable person at all.
Yes. I agree. And if you want to live your life being an honorable man, figure out what your principles are.
Mm-hmm.
Figure out what is really important: ownership, responsibility, accountability, honor, loyalty, trust.
Yeah.
Doing what's right.
Integrity.
It's
a big one. Thanks, man.
And don't ever compromise.
Yeah.
Once you know what your principles are, stand on them. Stand on them. Let them be that foundation of law that governs your life.
There you go.
Okay, and then all of the rest of it will fall into place. And sure, sometimes a man who really stands on the foundation of his principles will, when he makes a mistake or makes a bad decision or whatever, he takes responsibility for it.
Yeah,
he will, because that's his principle.
Boom. Everybody, thank you very much. Thank you for your time. The Bad Pennies will be back again, because that's what bad pennies do.
That's exactly.
See you later.
Ciao.